the Executive Director of Convergent's Digital Transformation Team. I'm joined today by my colleagues, Mr. Kip Bishop, Mr. Tony Alexander, and Mr. Jeremy McConnell. So it's interesting, you mentioned some of these points, and Jeremy, you talked about this idea about being cloud native, right?
Yeah.
And that is like a foundational building block of our security as a service offering. So maybe you could unpack that a little bit more, understand, why is that important? Why are we focusing on some of those cloud native type of solutions, and really why that transition from a technology perspective is enabling the service offering?
Yeah, so not only are we able to remotely monitor health systems and be that customer's best service provider by watching their systems and fixing all their issues. I was in the field. I've worked with a bunch of customers on hundreds of systems, and I've gone through the pain of upgrading these systems, right? So many workstations, so many servers, so much time and effort to plan and get these systems up to the latest version. And the problem is patches come out all the time. And if you aren't on a fully comprehensive plan, these patches are just never going to get deployed, and your systems will literally be vulnerable. So when you move to a cloud native technology, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You see in your systems that they've just updated. You see that a patch is released. You see that your system is ready to go. Easy to use, and there's just no issues.
Yeah, I think that's a key point. We're including all of that support structure, right? We're including really deployment services anywhere in the world. That's all included in our security as a service offering, and all the comprehensive service and support needs. Break, fix, repair on site anywhere in the world at any time. We're also doing annual tests and inspections. And to me, this is one of my most favorite things because of the compliance element and the ability to help our customers really make sure that their systems are operational, meeting all compliance needs. And Tony, I know you've had some experience with some of the customers you've been working with, and I didn't realize the importance of that. Maybe you could unpack that a little bit for A, the panel, and then B, the audience out there.
Yeah, so I think two things, Steve, and thank you. The first, I want to go back a little bit to what you were talking about, Jeremy. I think that there's a bit of a gap in the marketplace that we're filling with security as a service, because when you think about cloud technologies and software as a service and some of those buzzwords and things that have been around in the IT world for a long time, right? There's a software component there. There's a where does the technology live component there. But often the piece that's forgotten or dropped by the wayside, which really drives that extra customer experience piece, is the hardware on site. There still has to be a camera there still has to be a card reader, there's still a piece of hardware at that site that has to be installed, has to be serviced, and has to be supported, right? And that's really what we're doing. So from the previous question of, well, we leverage cloud and why, we're leveraging cloud in the same idea and thought process that's made the cloud so great from a technology and software perspective, and we're applying those same principles directly to the hardware that's happening on the site as well, as a comprehensive package. So, answering that question. So back to the compliance piece, if you think about ISO certifications and other types of, whether it's IT compliance, process compliance, cyber compliance, right? A lot of those already developed compliance documents and regulations, audit requirements, et cetera, they require things like a full maintenance plan. How are you keeping your software and hardware up to date? How are you making sure it's being maintained to manufacturer certifications? And then you have to be auditable and actually show that, right? You can't just say, well, I go out and I do something to the camera every once in a while. That's not good enough for an auditor. You have to have a paper trail. You have to have that audit trail. And when you can build in those comprehensive services, so you're building, again, that customer experience goes beyond just a user interface. It's simplifying their lives when it comes to the scary auditor that comes in and says, show me all this stuff, right? So I think it's a huge enabler for our customers.
Guys, thank you for all your perspective and conversations today. For the interest of time, we're going to put a pin in this. Thank you again so much for your time. Looking forward to more conversations. And again, please go to convergint.com/DT, subscribe, and look for some more conversations on this very interesting security as a service topic.